Hey Limitless Nation, today you're in for a real treat. Today you get to learn directly from Jillian Schleger. Being dissatisfied and overwhelmed with life, Jillian struggled with chronic fatigue and migraines. Since then, she has found the blocks to crush her own limiting beliefs and has created a life of clarity and meaning. Jillian now teaches others how to overcome their blocks and limiting mindsets to go on and create limitless lives for themselves. Jillian teaches her clients to live life by design and not by default, teaching them how to tap into their inner potential and maximize their quality of life. In today's masterclass, you are going to learn directly from the master herself, Jillian Schleger. Let's dive into it.
Before you dive into today's masterclass session, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the button below. It allows you to receive notification bell every single time we provide you with the contents that allows you to live a limitless life. Now, if you want to go deeper on learning on how you can hunt your future, make sure you download our masterclass session at huntyourfuture.com. It allows you to know exactly what you need to do to hunt your future. Plus, we are also going to share with you tips and tricks on what you need to do to live a limitless life starting from today's forward. Now, let's dive into today's masterclass sessions.
Hey, welcome Jillian Schleger.
Thanks for having me here.
Yes, it's awesome to have you here as well. So tell us, Jillian, is there anything that we did not mention in the bio that you'd like to share with the Limitless Nation?
Well, we talked about raising wild turkeys, and I don't raise wild turkeys, but I have raised feral cats before.
Awesome. So, Jillian, here at the Limitless Nation, we have a tradition of starting each and every single interview with a limitless quote or mantra. So do you have such a quote or mantra that you have embedded into your life?
One that I say often, and I tell my students or clients, is to check your baseline. And this is your energetic resonance to make sure that you're resonating at a high vibration.
I like that. Check your energetic baseline.
Yeah, check your baseline is a little bit catchier.
It is. Haven't heard that before, but I like it. It's original.
Good.
So, Jillian, in the vein of checking your baseline, can you share with the Limitless Nation a challenge or setback or even just obstacle that you've had to overcome to get to where you are now?
Sure. I'm a very emotional person. I'm very empathic, so other people's energy and emotion affects me. I'm affected by people around me, and my emotions would sometimes kind of get out of control. I'd be taken away by my emotions, and sometimes that's not indicative of creating a business and being centered and grounded. So I realized, checking my baseline, that I can check in to see where I am energetically, and I can shift that and change that. And I can see that my emotions are feedback for what is going right and what's going not so right, and can shift that to create a higher vibration, a higher frequency.
That's cool. That's really cool. So it's almost like you go inside of yourself and feel like, do I have this type of energy? Do I have this type of feeling? And where do I need to be? Is that kind of how it is?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, awesome. Now, in going through this difficulty, because from what I heard you say, is because you are so empathetic, you are extremely sensitive to other people's energies, as well as the environment around you. And you have to every now and then take a step back and figure out where you actually are and where you need to be. Is that right?
Right.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Well, cool in the sense that you can understand the energy around you. I can see how it can be challenging because that's going to disrupt your natural workflow to get to where you need to be. Now,
yes.
In disrupting your natural workflow, I'm not sure if it completely disrupts it because I don't know everything about it, but with this being a challenge here, what was an aha moment that you had that helped you overcome this?
Yeah, it was actually a friend of mine who's another solo boss, and when she invited me into her Facebook group, and her one question was, what's your superpower? And I kind of had to take a step back and think about that. And I thought, well, really, my emotions are my superpower. I am so emotional, and my emotions run so deep, and I can feel so deeply. That actually is a superpower. And I turn that into a superpower by checking in with my baseline and seeing that my emotions are feedback, to see if they are my emotions, then they're telling me something that's happening in my body. And that led me to actually decipher a system that tells me and my students or clients what is actually happening in the body, and how that can either help us or that can be shifted to help us figure out what the body is really trying to tell us.
I agree. You definitely have to think and listen to what the body is actually telling you. And sometimes the body tells you in how you feel and your emotions and just sometimes physical appearances.
Right. And like, I think it was Einstein who wrote emotion. So capital E dot motion. And it's emotion is energy in motion. And it's supposed to be kept in motion. And often we sit into our emotions. We sit in sadness or distress or pain or dissatisfaction, when emotion is supposed to be kept in motion, energy in motion. Instead of sitting in them, we should be learning from them.
Exactly. And that's why it is so imperative not to suppress your emotions and not to internalize, whether it's anger or sadness or whatever the emotion is.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes. Now, Jillian, with you having this amazing superpower and being able to help all these people from all around the world in all walks of life, what are you working on right now?
Hope you enjoyed the masterclass session so far. Before we get into the second half of the session itself, it is very crucial for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, as I really don't want you to miss out on another masterclass where I'm going to share with you what other expert celebrities, Fortune 5000 companies do to become successful and live a limitless life. So make sure you subscribe right now, and every single time we upload a new video, you will receive a notification bell. This allows you to enjoy the masterclass on the regular basis. So make sure you subscribe right now. Well, as you are ready, let's get into the second half of the masterclass session.
I'm working on a project called Kinetic Divination. This is a book that I wrote 2 years ago, but I've pulled it from the market. I self-published it, and I've pulled it to rewrite it, because when I started writing this process of this healing system, it was really cool when I sort of got the first download of what the steps were. But then when I implemented them with my students and clients, the whole healing system expanded and brought so much more into them. One of them was just what we were talking about, and I call that the body sync, is checking into where those emotions are sitting in the body, entangled in our energetic field. And we can actually go through a process of where we feel restriction in the body will actually tell us what the shadow aspect is that needs to be healed. Like the throat, if we feel a restriction in the throat, that's often a fear of criticism or history of criticism. So my project right now is compiling all of that information and rewriting that kinetic divination book and serving others by showing others how that system is implemented into their lives and their businesses.
Wow, that is definitely something valuable and interesting to learn about. So where can the Limitless Nation go to learn more about this and check out this book?
Yeah, I have a website called JillianSchleger.com, and Facebook is my main social of choice, but I am on YouTube and Instagram.
Exciting. Now, just for the people who are listening via podcast, can you spell out that website?
Yeah, Jillian is Jillian. Schleger is Schleger, and it's just.com.
Awesome. Thank you very much for sharing that with us.
Thanks for asking.
Now, Jillian, in you starting this limitless journey, was there anything that you really felt was keeping you back from becoming limitless?
I really actually felt like I wouldn't be understood. I felt like this system, kinetic divination, or checking your baseline, or the emotions are your feedback, wouldn't be taken seriously. I wouldn't be taken seriously because I had such a high superpower of the intense emotions. I really felt like that wouldn't be understood, or I maybe wouldn't be able to keep that under wraps. Instead of using it as a superpower, it kind of unravel. and be the opposite. But I really did fear that people would not be available. I was afraid that people wouldn't be open-minded enough to really consider kinetic divination.
Right. Okay. Now, Jillian, what is a bit of advice that you yourself received from someone helping you out along your path?
Oh, goodness. I've received a lot of advice. I've been really lucky to be honored with a lot of people's time and energy and advice from people who went along. The first person who was sort of hard on me, and he had said to me, "You wouldn't be my ideal client." And that really threw me for a loop, because it really took me back. I had this viewpoint of myself and what I needed and what I could serve other people with. And being told that I wasn't someone's ideal client made me realize we do all have specific needs and desires, and we do all have ideal clients. And it really took me into a space where I needed to say to myself, right, I am someone's ideal client, and someone else is my ideal client, and really to focus on that one person instead of focusing on many, many people. It's honing your skill into that one person that really needs your advice or needs your motivation, instead of focusing on the masses. It's that one person, and that really stuck with me.
You got it. So focus on the one person. It's like when you create an avatar, you need to focus on that one avatar and not every single person.
Mm-hmm. And every time you're posting, it's focusing on that one person. And that's another thing that I was not doing well in the first few months of my business. When I posted, I would post thinking and fearing the people who weren't open to accepting what I had to say. I was fearing and kind of thinking about replaying that in my head, instead of focusing on the person that really did want to and needed to hear what I had to say. So that shift created a massive change in my business.
Now, Jillian, what are some habits that you have instilled into your life that help you maintain your limitless life?
That would be checking my baseline. We talked about that earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and I check my baseline by muscle testing. So I muscle test where I am, not just where my energetic or emotional baseline is, but where my baseline is in regards to my goal. So if we have a goal in our energetic resonance with that goal is at a low resonance, so fear or pride, then we often have trouble manifesting or creating that in our lives. We need our goals to be at a resonance that is higher in emotion, like willingness or acceptance or love or joy. We will act more and go towards those things that bring us joy, rather than those goals that are fear-based.
I agree, because when you act in a positive manner, or love or joy, it makes yourself lighter, so that you actually have that vibrational energy to move forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very much.
All right. Now, Jillian, do you have a resource that you can share with the Limitless Nation to help them on their limitless journey?
I do. I have 7 Pillars of Alignment ebook that anybody can grab from my website, JillianSchleger.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for sharing that resource with us.
You're very welcome.
Now, Jillian, in a hypothetical world, and this is hypothetical, but imagine that all of the books that you own or wish to own, just all of a sudden they just disappeared. That must be a little bit difficult. But you found out that you had enough money in your bank account to buy one book. It could be only one book, but it could be any book. What is the first book you would go out and buy?
That would be The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy.
I like that. Cool, very deep read.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Jillian, if you had the ability to travel back in time and talk to the younger version of yourself, what advice would you give?
Well, I've always been a collector of healing modalities, and I would advise my younger self to implement those with herself instead of collecting them to heal and help other people in her life. They needed to be implemented and healed her body, mind, and soul at the same time.
I agree. So it's kind of like the concept of when you're on an airplane and the bag drops, you got to make sure that you yourself get the oxygen first before you can help someone else.
Very much, yeah.
Well, Jillian, thank you very much for your time. But before we close, where can the Limitless Nation viewers and listeners go to learn more about you?
Yeah, so my social of choice is Facebook, but I'm also on YouTube and Instagram. And I do have my website, jillianschleger.com, that anybody can go and check out more information about my books or speaking engagements and the process that I'm going through to expand kinetic divination and bring that to the world.
Mm-hmm. And what was the title of your book again?
I have 3 books right now. The first one is Kinetic Divination. The next 2 are Morning Mantras for Allowing. They're a series. One is Boss Edition, and the next one is the Love Edition. And in 2020, I'll be releasing my book with Hay House, which is called Dancing with Shadows.
Dancing with Shadows. That seems like a very interesting title.
Yeah, that it will be detailing what bullying and negativity does to the body, mind, and spirit.
Well, thank you very, very much for your time, Jillian. I'm sure that the Limitless Nation has been inspired by everything that you have had to say. I know I myself have had my mind expanded and definitely learned a lot from this interview.
I'm glad. Thanks so much for having me here.
Absolutely. Until next time, this is Donovan saying stay limitless.
Well, that's a wrap. Please make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the word subscribe. And if you want to go deeper on learning on what you need to do to hunt your future, make sure you watch the interview that I've done with Donovan on what you need to do to hunt your future on every aspect of your being. This allows you to live a limitless life on every aspect of your life starting from today's forward. Plus, you are going to receive tips and tricks on what you need to do to tackle your day, tackle your challenges on every situation, every single time. So go ahead and download it right now, and until then, stay limitless forever.